have a better clip of this? Because this clip is like, this clip is pretty bad. But here you go.
Wow. This will be a legend. It will be. Put Tiny's name on the statue. I understand why the Griefer, bro, amazing how many people like the Griefer are in this chat. Now I know why the WoW community is shit. The thing is that Blizzard engineers it this way. This is the way they made the game. He is simply an outcome of their designs. He is the fifth horseman, yes. That's right. The fifth horseman. Emergent player behavior, yes. They have made the game like this. Doesn't really matter because it'll be overturned. They said, no, the hardcore people said that you can't get a raid death overturned.
And the wandering tribe.
So they're going to have to change their rules. And also, even if they do, that doesn't stop somebody from doing it. Like, I think people would absolutely risk their account to waste people's time on this level. His next character should be Fifth Horseman. He'll be remembered for this. This is insane. Yes, he will be remembered. Did it for the clout, went from nothing to 1K viewers and 500 subs in 30 minutes. Yeah. And do you know why? It's because people don't care about this. It's funny. Yeah, to them, this is just funny. It doesn't matter like, oh, somebody is inconvenienced in a video game. And the thing is also, like, is Blizzard going to ban him for what he says is a mistake? What's going to happen? Community is dog shit? I think that there are a lot of people out there who look at the hardcore WoW community as kind of annoying and stupid. Because they're trying to go super, super hard mode on a version of the game that is brain dead. So I think that whenever people see hardcore players like this taking such a massive L, I think they love it. People have always enjoyed blood sports. Yeah, wrong corner. Oh, bro, was I in the wrong corner? Oh, shit. Shit. You say brain dead, but most don't make it past level 20. Yeah, well, there's different spectrum of brain dead. Also, I'm not saying that, like, I know hardcore WoW takes, like, a lot of focus, sure. But, like, I'm saying that's the way a lot of people feel about it. That's all. It's when do people find hardcore players annoying? Well, let me ask the chat. Are there a lot of you guys that kind of get that vibe from hardcore WoW and hardcore WoW players?
Greetings. Go in peace.
Okay, well, there you go. If it makes you mad, you shouldn't play hardcore. That's the way it goes. People dislike hardcore WoW players because they don't find hardcore fun. They can't stand seeing other people doing fun and something they don't like. I think the reason why they feel that way is that a lot of people that play hardcore are like, there's like an ego attached to it. And it's the same thing with hardcore in a lot of games where it's like, people feel like they're like superior gamers because they play hardcore. So, like, that's why, right, is they talk about that stuff, and they're like, oh, yeah, well, we play hardcore, like, we're serious about the game. Like, that's why people like seeing it happen. People watch Jeff compilations? Oh, yeah, they love them. They absolutely do. Majority of people play having fun with hardcore, having fun. You're listening to the majority that's loud and act like that's all of them. I'm just saying this is the vibe that people get. I've played hardcore WoW. Like, I'm not saying that I think this. I'm just saying this is the impression that people get. Like, there are people who are racist. Does that mean I'm racist because I acknowledge there are people that are racist? No. Just because I say there's other people out there that are like this doesn't mean that I'm agreeing with them, saying they're right, saying I think this. I'm just acknowledging that they exist. At the end of the day, this is just great content. It definitely is. Who cares? It's good content for everyone involved anyway. Well, I think it's only really good content for that guy. For everybody else, it kind of just wastes their time. So, yeah. If I was the hardcore guys, what I would do is I would probably just reverse the deaths. Because here's the thing, is that mature take, most people and streamers who are playing hardcore are pretty chilled. Okay, so are you saying that most people aren't immature? Have you ever played World of Warcraft? Like, do you know where you are? If they reverse the deaths, it's a joke? No, it's not. I mean, well, here's the thing. So like there's two negatives. So if you don't reverse the deaths, you reward this person, and then as soon as this person realizes what they can do, they're going to, like, there's going to be tons of other people that are going to try to copycat that. And a good example of this is Gus in my raid. Is that we had a lot of clips of Gus, and he was dying in the raids to stupid stuff. And then whenever Older War came out, everybody started dying to stupid stuff because they wanted to be the next Gus. They wanted to be the next person on the Asmongold Gold Clip channel with like 1 million views on a clip of them fucking up Frogger after Patchwork, or missing the jump on Thaddeus, or standing on the wrong side on Thaddeus, or fucking up probably something else on Thaddeus. Yes, Bodegro, yes. And so there's a lot of people that kept trying to do it. So you're going to have tons of people that now they're going to start trying to do the exact same thing. Because now they can get their 15 minutes of fame, and they can make a lot of money doing it. Because, the guy who got a lot of viewers, he got a lot of subs, he's probably running ads like crazy. He's going to make all of his money. He's going to make over $1,000 today. Think about that. He's going to make probably thousands of dollars today for doing this. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if he made over 5 or 10K out of this whole thing, and he made over 3K. So think about it. He did a year for basically probably like what would equate to like a part-time job, and he might make close to minimum wage. $1,000 a year griefing classic builds. Where do I apply? Yeah, there it is. It's probably more than that because there's going to be a residual to it. Probably for me, like anyone here. Yes, tanks and axe GDKPs. To be honest, it's way too much work for you. Except the certain rules that when you play a game, maybe they shouldn't invite another griefer into the group. Oh, I disagree. I think that if somebody does something with bad intention, and then you allow that thing that they do with bad intention to be upheld, I think that you then empower a person with bad intention, and you are really not that worse than they are, or not that much better than they are. So, if you are the one that makes the rules, you have to know that all rules are made to be broken. Rules are not real. Rules are simply always guidelines. They're never actually hard and fast. So to me, anytime that I hear, oh, well, that's the rules, well, then just change the rules. Who cares? It doesn't really matter. So what rules? Yeah, it doesn't make a difference at all. So rules are meant to be broken? Yes, they are. And I think that in a lot of cases that's the case. In a lot of cases that is true. And I think that also rules that cannot bend will break. And you should always try to have ways for rules to be able to be bent if there's a person who's acting in bad faith. See what I'm saying? So it wasn't an accident? Then why make rules at all? For the 99% of cases where it isn't an accident. Or sorry, when it is an accident. Also, by the way, this is the way that the real world works too. In the real world, it's not like any time that you do a crime, you get the same punishment or the same thing happens. It depends on the intent of the person, had they done it before, etc. Right? There's a million different things. If he denies it, how do you prosecute him? He's not going to go through a trial. Well, you just have to make it. You have to make a educated guess. That's all. You just make an educated guess, and you have to guess. But it's obvious that it was premeditated. It's obvious that he did it on purpose.
Well
right?
done.
Obvious. So, what are we talking about?
Be careful. How may I aid you?
Sets a bad precedent for other raid fuck-ups. Somebody fucks up in a raid, claims he's griefing. 2 mods, raid deaths get overturned. Well then, and that's the thing. And you're right. You're absolutely right. That after this, then people are going to say that they had a raid fuck-up because of this one person. You're definitely right. So, and this is the problem that it puts them in, is that if you allow this to happen, then you say, okay, well, you're opening the floodgates to an extent. But if you don't allow it to happen, then you also enable other people to do the exact same thing and deteriorate the quality of the community by, in my opinion, a very considerable degree. You see what I'm saying? So it's just simply 2 bad decisions. No matter what, this guy poked a pretty big hole inside the hardcore bubble. Do you think does this kill hardcore WoW? Is hardcore WoW dead now? Is it over? Is it finished? Oh. Do you think it'll still generate general hostility towards the player and everyone being paranoid and sus to each other? Yes. And it will damage the entire community. Yes. It will. And also, you're going to have tons of other people that are going to try to replicate what this guy did. That's the best part about it, is that now that it's happened once, it will keep happening. Parker Law never even started. It was just boomer noobs doing this classic since it's been 4 years, and a few adrenaline junkies, well, whatever you want to call it. This definitely hurts it. Why do you keep making it sound like it's a good thing? I'm just talking about it. I'm just saying this is what's happening. Again, I think it's very simple. What would I do if I was the hardcore leadership? I would just let him appeal it. I would say, listen, guys, it's obvious this guy did it on purpose. He is a known griefer. We're appealing it, and that's it. That's what I would do if I were. And I think that's what they will do. And when they do, I will be ready to read all of the comments of people that would completely destroy hardcore if they do that. I think it will destroy. Personally, I think it would destroy hardcore if they don't. Think about it. This is a literal Joker moment. There's no positive outcome. As per Reddit, they're not appealing it. Let me read the Reddit comments, because like obviously this is going to be probably like the top post, right? It's not. Okay, second top post. Okay. So sad that one person has no moral compass and he cares about no one else's time. You don't understand. He does care about their time. That's why he did it. That's the whole point. Nothing is lost. They can just appeal it. Everything will go back to normal. And the time is wasted. One thing can make everyone. And this is also, this is going to be even worse than like official hardcore. Because now, like now people know that you can do this. I respect this real hardcore experience. Make the wrong friend and perma died. I'd be fucking screaming at comms to this guy to get back, prepare to hearth out at Petri or something. See, this guy doesn't even know the game. This is the perfect boss to grief the whole raid. Who could have seen this coming? The dude multi-boxed world buff dispellers on Earth Fury PvP and RMP'd with people, so they would be exempt until he got banned. Wait, he actually is multi-boxing. And he's everywhere. Look at this. He's at the top of Undercity. He's down there by Orgrimmar. He's up here. He's everywhere. He's watching everybody. It's like the last scene in fucking The Dark Knight. With like Morgan Freeman and all those TVs. Why can't you Petri out? Monks go to the Fox players are so unbelievably dumb. The guy had over 10 accounts permabanned for griefing during Classic and is using the same feature. Not a surprise someone who has griefed in the past will do it again in the future. Even bigger than that, though, he was permabanned by Blizzard for griefing. Why would you let someone like that into your hardcore raid? It doesn't matter what sob story the guy has. The only way he should get in a raid is when he's completely Shaman. Yeah, but if he did that, then the same thing would happen. So, like, what do you mean doing that? So, like, are they really at fault? I mean, like, the same thing, the same outcome would occur. It was deliberate. They're talking of appealing. This is why official services is so much more brutal. We aren't going to appeal it. We took a stance that no matter what happens, raid deaths are not appealed. Declared his character died in Discord after the raid. They are not appealing the death. As it should be. And there was a Reddit post about this guy from 2 years ago. Tiny Violin, Earth Fury multi-boxing dispeller has been banned from WoW. He was banned for accepting payment in real money to not dispel them. So he was so good at dispelling that people were paying him real life money to not dispel them. And again, why does this happen? It's because Blizzard programmed it that way. Blizzard has had 4 years since Classic WoW came out to change the way that those world buffs work. Did they? No. And this is what you get. It's allowed. Yeah, that's right. And that's it. You get what you fucking deserve. That's right. Personal responsibility, though, no. I mean, whenever you have a system in a game that's being abused by people and it's creating 99% negative interactions that are unfun and make everybody mad, just take it out of the game. Like, it's common sense. It's like you have a kid, and the kid there's like a room full of light sockets, and you give the kid a fork, and you're like, wow, this kid's so stupid for putting the fork in the light socket. Well, why not take the fucking fork away? To take away the fucking fork. Tiny was denied / robbed of Spirit Board, and that's why he's dispelling. Yeah, but the thing is, he couldn't have dispelled. How can you change the game for 0.001%? Bro, we're not talking about changing the game. You're talking about making 2 debuffs, not magic heroes. Like, I'm not talking about rebalancing BWL. I'm not talking about, like, you know, getting rid of Nefarian. I'm talking about changing a buff. Like, what are we talking about? How many combined player hours did he delete, do you think? Assuming each person put 300 hours into their character, and he killed probably 35 people, let's assume that 35 times 3,000. So that is, what is that? 10,500 hours? Yeah, what is 300 times?
I can't carry
35. Let me see.
Inventory is full.
300 times 35. Yeah, of course. That's right. Yeah. So there you go. 10,000 hours. Pissed away. Get the shit out. All for nothing. Deleted. I almost feel bad for the griefer because it's obvious he has some kind of mental illness. Hardcore is weird and a terrible idea for normal people. Of course it is. But people want to do it. Like, if people want to do it, let them do it. Most of griefing won't exist in official hardcore for the rating portion unless it's through people that believe they have nothing left to lose on that character anymore, or end the game to attempt something like this. It doesn't matter. The thing is that how many of you guys would lose your account? Like, you know, assuming you don't have, like, your account you've had for 10 years, right? Like, you made a second account for this because you're going to do it. Because, like, somebody like this planned this out. Like, he's planned this out for a year. Streamers in chat, Calamity HC. I'm here if you have questions. Reddit isn't exactly a good source. Can you talk on Discord? This isn't the person that was the griefer. It's the person that was the paladin in the video, the Hearthdown. Can you hear me?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. What a day, huh?
Yeah, I mean, not how I thought it would go, but still fun, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. It depends. How's the rest of the guild taking it?
Probably 50-50, right? Some are bummed, some are glad to finally log off.
So they're actually, like, he released them from their pain.
I would say some did, yeah. So we've been doing 4 or 5 raids a week for 7 months to do KT for officials. Like, we're super burned out.
And so, whenever you say 4 to 5 raids a week, how many of those raids was Tiny Violin in?
Probably most of them, yeah. Like, at least 3 probably.
And how many hours did that take?
Counting getting buffs and consumed?
Yeah.
Oh gosh, at least 20, if not 30, right? Just for...
So, like, assuming like you did half of them, so you're talking about probably like 15 to 20 hours every single week for 5 to 6 months for this one moment.
It's too far away.
Yeah, and like I said in my stream, he hung out after raid, like, played like fucking Scriblio and shit with us, like non-WoW stuff.
And how long did he do that for?
A year, right?
So he's been playing Scriblio with you guys for a year.
Not exactly.
I understand. So, whenever you thought that it was a good idea to fight multi-bots, dispelling the World Russia Classic, and extorted people for real-life money to not dispel them, what were you thinking?
Can I have them?
Yeah.
So this is a long time ago, right? When we invited him, we didn't know. He had been with us for about 2 months when we found out, probably. And I think as a guild, as leadership, we talked about it and said, like, he didn't change his name, right? There was no attempt to hide himself. He could have very easily pretended to be someone else and changed his name.
Very true, you're right.
Didn't hide himself, and he was like, I was friend with him, like, hey, we know you're a griefer. And he, at this point, he put in like so many hours farming consumes, teaching people how to play the game. Like, most of our guild is new players. He taught us lots of like in-game strategies.
So
we trusted him.
So he basically like it's like how like a farmer raises up like cattle.
For a slaughter, yeah.
I can't.
Yeah,
So
no,
he taught you all of these things.
We obviously have experienced players. Or not just teams, but he definitely helped out. He was a very key member of the community. And
What was his role in the guild?
he was a tank, so he joined at a very lucky time for what he was doing to grief us, I guess.
How's that?
In that we had several of our tanks quit or die, so he filled a hole in the raid. He could join very easily.
How did those other tanks die?
I couldn't even tell you, it's been so long.
Okay, I just think that's interesting. You know, maybe he was involved in that too.
True.
Yeah.
As far as putting players to this, I have no idea.
I
can't trust anyone anymore.
I think that a person like this, there is no limit, and there are no depths achieved. So you thought that basically because he didn't change his name, that trying to hide who he was, that he had turned a new leaf, and he's a new person now, and he's not going to go back into tricks.
I wouldn't say that's what I said, but I think it would have been much easier for him to. It was part of a reason. Like,
Yeah.
It was part of a long list of reasons of why maybe we can trust him again.
He's also probably convenient because he's already a tank at that point, so like getting out of tank would be
Inventory is full.
okay.
A whole list of reasons, but yeah. For how long he'd been there, because we never thought we'd do max, right? We thought Cthulhu would be our big. So to not ID grief on Cthulhu would be like, oh, he's fine then, right? And
I'm sure that's what he wanted you to believe.
Yeah, and there's the flame breath bosses in Black Mirror. You can taunt those and break the raid. We had so many chances before to grief us.
You're right. But somebody could have taunted, I guess they could have taunted the boss away a little bit. But 4 horsemen, I mean, you're locked in. And also, 4 horsemen, is there any other boss that can't petrification?
There's a long list of like 600 spells on Wowhead that ignore immunity. Shadow Flame in Blackwing Lair is one. There's probably others. It's definitely the best boss to grief on, I think, period. But there are others, yeah.
So, do you see, like, now that this has happened, and, well, actually, how many people died? What was the total count?
I think it's 36.
36, so there were 4 survivors. Did Tiny survive?
I don't imagine he did. Why would he, right?
Yeah, I mean, at that point, his job's already done.
Can't carry anymore.
So,
Yeah, I was sitting pretty in Idol's chapel, just kind of laughing to myself. So.
oh yeah, I mean, you got away. I was amazed. Honestly, I thought the tick was going to kill you and interrupt the Hearthstone or something. So I was surprised. So now that this has happened, and the guild has had many collective circumstances happen, what now?
I don't think 4 hours is enough time for people to really process their emotions. I know a lot of us want to go ahead and do it on Sunday to see if we can do it, to see who would die, to see, you know, what would happen if we did it right. So we'll probably still do it on Sunday. We'll see. Not everyone will be there. Some people are definitely leaving the thing.
So there are people doing characters because of this already.
Oh yeah, some of us are very anti-appeal, so those people are just here.
Really? So they're anti. So they actually want this one to count against them, and they're willing to delete their own character because of this.
People have different morals and ethics and gameplay tools and stuff.
Well, how do you?
It's a rock and a hard place, right? Because if you allow them to kill you, you empower them. If you keep going, you have the hecklers, the people in your chat going, not hardcore, keck W,
So yeah, I think you're definitely stuck between a rock and a hard place. So what do you think that the people that are running classic, like hardcore, do you think that they should separate?
The official hardcore Discord has not dealt with 60 stuff in a long time. They're just no longer caring about 60 stuff. It's kind of up to us and our guild. We'll probably have a poll tomorrow or something. Let everyone sleep on it.
Do you think that this damages hardcore WoW?
Oh, absolutely.
How do you think that happens?
You're going to official where there's no appeal. There's no chance to redo. With people you don't know that can do this stuff, like it just shows the world that you can just do this and kill 36 people.
Well, and this is a thing because I have watched his POV, and he said that this was actually, and he didn't mean to bring the boss over that place. He said wrong corner. And I was curious.
Did Teeny Violence strike again?
Are we good now, guys? Are we good? We're good? Okay. So what I asked was, I'll just repeat it for chat and everything, is that, you know, I watched Teeny's, like, POV, and I watched him talk, and whenever he brought Zeliek over there, I think I heard him say, like, oh shit, wrong corner. Like, he made a mistake. Like, he didn't know that he was supposed to bring Zeliek to the other corner, and he just brought him over to the corner that Thane Korthos happened to be at. And I'm just curious, like, what your thoughts are on that.
So, I think any leeway for a mistake went out the window when he switches stances to mocking below the boss and taunt him. But I think one avenue we're not considering is, what if Forrest Shona was in the wrong spot? What if Teeny was in the right one?
How do you mean?
Well, what if the other boss? What's his name? Thane?
Yeah, Thane. So you think that Thane should have been in the back? And
Absolutely. Yeah, it's all our fault, definitely.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, definitely. And how do you think Blizzard should handle this?
That is such a hard question. So Blizzard did say no stance on for the hardcore servers, but this isn't a hardcore server.
Oh, no stance? No, they said explicitly that, like, they were going to be aiming for briefing.
That's what I meant.
Oh, no stance. Oh, like, you mean no,
no tolerance.
No tolerance, yes, okay.
But this isn't that server, so I'm not really sure.
Right. Okay. Do you think that he should be banned from this?
This is my opinion of my I think, since this is not a hardcore server, I don't know if it's a community rule server, it's not actually infringing the game in the game mechanics.
So?
No, it's a hard call. I don't think it's bannable in the current rule set, but on a hardcore server.
Okay, so you think that on hardcore WoW, that if he did this, he should be banned?
On a hardcore server.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, I personally think that even if it wasn't a hardcore server, gameplay instruction is always always been against the TOS, and I think that they've exercised that on RP server events. And I think that also now so
That's
like,
pretty fair.
yeah, I mean, I think it's up to Blizzard. I think that Blizzard will do what Blizzard usually does, and they just won't do anything.
So going back to you, I'm new to WoW. I've been playing for a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. I don't really know the concept of past ends and stuff.
Yeah. No, that's fair. And I think it really, it's just. Do you think that now that this has happened, you're going to see more people griefing raids?
I don't know if more people. It's simply, it's hard to get here. It takes a very special person. Timmy is definitely unique in his skill set.
Right.
I think I understand
What exactly
the
makes
time
it
curve.
unique? Yeah.
The knowledge, the right time, right place to join the guild. Not dying earlier. Like, there's so many chances he could have died earlier, right? I think it's still gonna be rare, but it can. It definitely happen. I imagine there'll be copycats, right? Wanting the fame, the 1,000 viewers on Twitch or whatever.
How much money do you think he's made out of this so far?
I could not even tell you. Someone said $500.
Well, yeah, I'm pretty sure it's going to be a lot. And that's just what it is. And I think that as soon as people realize that they can do something like this and get notoriety from it and have weight, another thing is that Blizzard should have an appeal on the hardcore, like, actual. Like, I know that they won't, but, like, do you think that's a good thing?
I don't think there's a way that Blizzard could do it that's fair and avoid trauma and controversy.
Do you think this will decrease the amount of people that want to
If what I understand about the hardcore community is that most people are levelers, leveling enjoyers. I don't think most people care about raiding or being grouped in raiding. It definitely impacts the raider population, though, I think. A very small raider.
Okay. Yeah, I think that definitely makes sense. And if you were to put, like, are you in game right now?
I can't be like
I was asking what your slash play.
66 days.
66 days. So
But I didn't.
okay, yeah. So 66 days. 66 times 24. That's 1,584 days on that character, or hours, excuse me. And do you think everybody else in the raid would have something equivalent to that?
No. I'm one of the older characters. I think the average is around 20 to 30.
20 to 30 days. You said 35 people.
36.
So there's actually, because we originally estimated it at 10,000 hours, and apparently no, it's actually almost 26,000 hours annihilated. Just pissed away. Off of one guy.
I wouldn't think that we had a good time with training, right? It'll still fund the entire way.
I'm glad you feel that way. I am.
I am still having a good night. Copium aside.
Well, you're the one that
That was a
didn't
good
die.
Yeah, imagine dying.
Yeah, there you go. Some of the other warriors are sitting there. Yeah, I know. They're sitting there on a pile, dead on top of each other. I feel like they're probably looking at it maybe a little bit different. Who knows? Well, anyway, do you have any like parting thoughts on what's happened?
Parting thoughts on what's happening.
Yeah. Today, we're here to talk about cross guild, with all the other Yonkos now making a move towards the One Piece, with Luffy now having 3 poneglyphs, Shanks beating Kid taking his, and Blackbeard beating Law and taking his poneglyphs. It's only appropriate that we talk about Buggy and how he might come into the fold. So based on what we know of right now, Buggy has 0 poneglyphs under his belt, whereas his competition are already near the finish line. How will Buggy catch up? Realistically, there's only 2 ways for Buggy to catch up right now. He either goes through the gauntlet, goes to Whole Cake Island, goes to Wano, go to Zoe, and grab all the rubbings from those islands, or what I think he might be able to do is find the man with burn marks, the man marked by flame, and obtain the one poneglyph that nobody else has. While you could argue that this wouldn't necessarily put Buggy ahead of the others, it does give him a massive advantage, because he had Law and Kid and Luffy all scratching their head as to where to even start in regards to finding the 4th road poneglyph. Even we, the audience, barely know anything about the location of it. All we know is that there's a guy who is marked by flames, he has a black ship, and he can seemingly create whirlpools. If you were to ask Luffy who this man might be or where to find him, Luffy would have no idea. But if you ask Buggy, Shanks, or Blackbeard, I feel like they might have an inkling as to where to start. And that's simply because they were a part of an entirely different era. With age comes experience, and with experience comes knowledge. And every Yonko thus far has shown us how great their information network is. Big Mom was able to find out Sanji's backstory back at the Baratie. Kaido somehow managed to finagle his way into Wano. Shanks pulled up the Carfax on Kid while he was fighting him. And then there's Blackbeard, who was able to pinpoint the island that one of the 3 captains leading Wano would end up on. The only Yonko that has not shown us what they are capable of on the information front would be Buggy. And, of course, Luffy, but I also feel like Luffy is a little bit of an exception to this. Cross Guild is freaking awesome. But do you know what else is awesome? The sponsor of today's video, Atlas VPN. Thanks to Atlas VPN, we're offering everyone here an exclusive summer deal. You can get an Atlas VPN subscription right now for a low price of $183 a month. And by signing up, you get an extra 3 months free. If you guys don't know what a VPN is, let me tell you some of my favorite features about it. First up, by using a VPN, you can unlock all of your favorite content from around the world. For example, Netflix. Netflix here in America is very different from Netflix in other countries. They have an entirely different range of shows. So, by using Atlas VPN, I can change my region that Netflix thinks I'm in, and say that I'm in Japan, for example. And by doing so, I will then have access to all of the juicy anime that's not available in my home country. So there's another cool feature, and this one is a lot more personal. So the other day, I accidentally downloaded malware on my wife's computer, and because of this, I had to reset the entire computer back down to the basics. It wasn't fun, but if I had Atlas VPN at the time, none of that would have happened, because Atlas VPN blocks all malicious links, ads, and trackers, and not just that, but Atlas VPN will even notify you when it notices that somebody's trying to steal your data. Atlas VPN is offering all of that and so much more for the low price of $183 a month. And by signing up, like I said earlier, you get an extra 3 months free. And not to mention, there's even a 30-day money-back guarantee. So what are you waiting for? Hurry up and grab Atlas VPN's exclusive summer deal by clicking the link down below. And yeah, Buggy, he needs to show us what he is truly capable of now that he's a Yonko. And of course, you could make the argument that he is not a true Yonko because he doesn't have the strength to back it up, but I feel like since he doesn't have the strength to back up the title, he needs to succeed in other areas. He has the luck, he has the fame, and he has the age. So with that age, I do expect him to have some knowledge as to where the man marked by flames might be. But also, to play devil's advocate to myself, even if he doesn't know where the man marked by flames is, we have to admit that obtaining the other 3 proponent lists wouldn't be too much of a challenge for Buggy, Mihawk, and Crocodile, because they're seemingly unguarded. If we were to go to Whole Cake Island right now with these 3 men, who would stop them? Katakuri? Maybe, but he's injured. And we have Mihawk and Crocodile. If we were to go to Zoe, well, Buggy knows the Minx. He's been there before with Roger, so that's not too big of a deal. And then if we go to Wano, again, Buggy has connections. And of course, if the Wano swordsmen turn against him, they also have Mihawk. The road to success could not be much easier for these guys. The only problem with this, though, is that they are not on the move yet. I feel like they will be in the near future, since they just got their ship built in Chapter 1082, but I do think they will be stationary for at least 1 or 2 more chapters. And the reason why is because, based on what we saw back in Chapter 1086, the Seraphim have been deployed to Empty Bluffs Island. We have the Crocodile model, the Gecko Moria model, and lastly, the Dobie model, all heading over there to stop Cross Guild in their tracks. I mentioned earlier that all of the Yonko have tournaments under their belt and they're making strides towards the One Piece. But not just that, they also have feats underneath their belt as well. Luffy took down Kaido and now he's going ham on Egghead Island. We have Shanks, of course, it was kind of a one-tap, but he took down Kid. Blackbeard took down Long, and seemingly it looks like he's taking down Garp as well. Buggy, maybe not Buggy, but Buggy's crew, Mihawk and Crocodile, they need a feat, in my opinion. So, with the Seraphim being deployed to Empty Bluffs Island, I feel like this is the best time for Mihawk and Crocodile to show what they're all about. Back on Egghead Island, we saw what a clash against the Seraphim looked like. Luffy, Zoro, Lucci, and Kanku all tried to fight them, knocked them back, and they took no damage. The Kuma model, the Mihawk model, they stood back up like nothing happened to them. And even back in Wano, we saw what Lunarians are capable of. It took Zoro everything he had to beat King. So taking down 3 Seraphim would be a mighty feat to put under the Cross Guild belt. But that's not just it. That's not where the buck stops. Because we have to remember, with Seraphim being deployed, there has to be a commanding officer to give them orders. Back on Amazon Lily, Kobe was that guy. So with that being the case, these 3 Seraphim must have somebody behind them, leading them on Empty Bluffs Island. And now, who would that candidate be? So far, I came up with 3 pretty decent options. The first one would be Fujitora, because Fujitora is a swordsman and he's an admiral. A lot of people have been slandering
Dr. J, we also got to talk quickly. He came out with his top 10 list. Had the internet going nuts. I'm just going to read it to you, no particular order.
No, please shoot.
Jerry West, Oscar Robertson, Elgin Baylor, Will Chamberlain, Bill Russell, Michael Jordan, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Magic Johnson, Karl Malone, Tiny Archibald.
Man, this man ain't got Tim Duncan on him.
So he said he left Kobe, LeBron, and Steph off the list.
Fuck, they ain't got Tim Duncan on there.
I'm just, Dr. J.
Listen, he don't have LeBron James.
Yo, you got Karl Malone on. No, but his argument was, hold on. His argument was,
I don't like Dr. J.
the guys that we don't have on there, some of the guys who we don't have on there are still playing.
That list just
That's the argument he tried to make. Tim Duncan ain't played in years. Tim Duncan got 5 rings. Karl Malone ain't got nothing.
That list right there let me know what type of person he is.
No, that's you know like how old he is.
The nigga doesn't have cable. He got dial-up.
You don't have LeBron James?
He probably ain't watched the game since what 93.
You don't have LeBron James on your
probably
list?
ain't
We don't
watched
have
basketball since 95.
That list don't have nothing to do with LeBron James. I have nothing to talk about.
That list ain't got nothing to do with no player after 95.
The doc. The doc.
think about
The
it.
doc.
Turn this shit off
It's
and
that
put on
Dr.
Golden
J.
Girl.
It needs to be
This man
Dr.
got
J.
tiny Archibald.
Taking his
But
name.
what
Taking
I'm
his name.
saying is, think about it. Like, really think about it. Look at the players. They was old enough. They're young enough to be when he first started retiring, and still probably he probably ain't looked at the game in 30-something years.
Do you think Dr. J has league pass?
Hey, yo, hey,
You're not paying for that shit.
Hey, yo, is that how he said it in order too?
He said in no order.
But
We always say
but listen, I'm for sure he did not say Michael Jordan in the top 5. When he mentioned the names, I bet you he did say Michael Jordan in the top 5.
No, he said it just, I'm pretty sure he said it just like that.
Look. I mean, he got Mike coming off the bench. And he got Mike coming off the bench.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you look at but that makes sense. If you have somebody do it today, right, and they will do it in most of those. I mean, Michael Jordan will be in there.
Of this list, who will be on your list for
Top 10.
top 10 NBA players of all time?
Yeah, like how many coming off?
The big O.
Okay.
Will, MJ, Kareem, Magic.
You're not fucking with Tiny Archibald, good?
So that's 5, right?
No, but
Man, stop with the Bill Russell bullshit, man. They motherfuckers had an AAU program.
they smeared doo-doo on his wall.
Man, it was 16
They
when he
smeared
played.
doo-doo on his wall, Gil.
So 5 out of his 10.
Motherfucker, he was a doo-doo.
Home fans.
Niggas was getting hung.
Home fans.
So,
I'm just saying.
all right.
They needed him to get buckets.
So we got
to fight that
5,
back.
right? So of his, we got 5.
Some
Wait, I mean, wait.
So therefore,
MJ,
5,
Kareem.
But have y'all watched them Elgin Baylor footage?
right? Mm-hmm. So
I don't want to do what you're trying to do.
no.
You're trying to make me do the other 5.
That's easy. That's easy.
The other 5? Nah, then I got Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Shaq,
Okay.
Cole.
Okay.
LeBron.
Okay.
Steph.
That's stop.
Okay.
What about a kid?
Stop. That's enough.
What about a kid?
Okay.
That's enough.
Hakeem Olajuwon.
Or you can replace
Hakeem Olajuwon got lucky because Mike
You can
retired.
say. No, but Hakeem still. No, you can't.
No,
Please don't do that.
No.
Look at his ring. Damn his ring.
I'm talking about the ring.
Damn his ring.
No, I know. I'm talking about. You talking about Hakeem got 2.
Seems like a guy who doesn't get the respect.
But damn his ring.
Needs to be in top 10.
Talking about work.
So Hakeem Olajuwon will be in the top 10 if he didn't even have rings.
Absolutely.
Okay. So is he in your top 10?
He wanted to put
Not
it.
me.
Okay. So I mean,
But you can take.
is he in your top?
But I start moving.
Wait, hold on. Is he in your top 10 or not? Because you just said if he's in your, even if he didn't have the ring, you'd be.
Certain guys will have him in the top 10. You know what I'm saying?
This is inside for 10.
No, is he that? Because if not, then he can watch out. And that whole Houston.
So you
back to
this
back
list,
to back.
you got
He's top 15, 100% sure.
No, but
What
not
are
top
rings
10.
or not rings?
But not top 10.
you gotta take Will, Kareem,
Will,
and Shaq.
Kareem, and Shaq.
Will, Kareem, and Shaq.
Hands down.
You know, Magic?
No, I'm talking about 5s.
No, we're talking about the 5.
5s. We're talking about the 5s. Will, Kareem, Shaq.
What about Joker?
Will, Kareem, Shaq.
Top 20.
Karl Malone.
Top who? 20?
20?
Yeah.
Not for sure. Top 20.
Yes?
Tony Archibald?
No. I don't know that.
Okay.
To be accurate.
I mean, everybody else, yeah. I mean, I can agree with top 5, but
Jerry West.
Look, I get Bill Russell. Look, 11 rings. I get you people trying to.
Jerry West.
But listen, Will and Bill played in the same
You
era.
got Kobe Bryant on your list. You got Jerry West on your list. Come on. This man.
that's what I'm saying. The doc's been
man
around.
high.
But Dr. J been around on your truck. No.
But
man high.
he ain't watched the last 30 years. There's nobody.
No, he has watched the last time, for sure. For sure.
Whether this man watched or not, nobody in their fucking right mind,
He's watching, bro.
right mind,
Come on,
can
yo.
say that on any top 10 list, good fuck if he the logo or not, that Jerry West deserves to be on the top 10 list over Kobe Bean Bryant. I don't care. No, whether you watch the game or not.
LeBron James.
I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is,
LeBron James gave us 20 years of greatness.
it tells you that he has not watched basketball.
So why are you at the All-Star games and shit? Why are you doing anything?
Because they bringing them old niggas. Hey, come on.
He doing the goddamn.
Ask Kareem to do his top 10. I guarantee you look as goofy as this one does.
LeBron James better be in there. LeBron James better be.
I think Kareem list would be better.
Kareem list would be way better than that.
I think Kareem list would be more.
Dr. J's been around the game too long to be doing that.
Yeah, that's
Man,
I
I'm
agree.
sick of the bullshit.
Yeah, that's
I'm sick of this shit. I am sick of it. I am sick of the bullshit.
Dylan.
Bullshit.
No, that's serious. Like when people have,
This is not fair to the basketball guy.
when people have Bill Russell in there in the top 10, I got to question your basketball knowledge. I'm sorry, because him and Wilt played in the same era. One averaged 50 and 30 rebounds, the other one averaged 16 and 20 rebounds. Which means one was just a hustle player. Like you hustled against white folks. Look at that. And all you can score was 16 points a game. Like you couldn't even break 20. And you want me to put you in the top 10. Everybody's 5-10. And there's only 8 teams. And you're playing against the white folks. Right? And you, like, I'm looking at like, then how hard was the league? And then I was like, who else is in the league? Then I looked at Will. That makes sense. Yeah. Black man doing what black men do. 50 fucking points a game. He can't be stopped. Why you trying to break 20? You couldn't get 10. Like, come on. Yeah. That means they never pass you the fucking ball.
I'm with you.
You was that's right. What I'm saying. You are the only. You were athletic as fuck, and you only average 16 to 18 points. Meaning they couldn't just give you the ball and say go score on white folks. Yeah. You couldn't do that. You couldn't do that.
When they took Duncan out.
I'm sorry.
Hey, one highlight of him coming down off the break.
Hey, when they took Duncan out, right?
You can do that that's 20 points a game.
He can probably do. He's playing in Boston though. It's like 16, boy. That's what we'll let you.
11 rings makes sense. There was no free agency. You can only draft and trade. It was just draft and trade, right? You guys had this amazing team. It's easy to dominate. It is easy to dominate.
Not having LeBron James as Steph Curry on this list is just blasphemy.
We got.
I would just call him Jay when I see him.
Like I had to
see him. Jay, hey Jay.
Like I had to start Googling. History.
No,
Jay.
No, you call him by his name.
No.
Hey, Julius.
Julius.
Hey, Julius. Let me talk to you.
Hey, listen. Hey, y'all can say what y'all want. Listen. That motherfucker was him. No. He still got the glow. Like,
for sure.
There's certain eras.
For sure.
He still got.
He cool as a fan.
He's like, that was a.
He cool as a fan. He cool as a fan.
Yeah. When you watch him, just watch him walk in the room. You can be like, oh, that motherfucker right there. Just let you know he was.
Barney, if you guys don't know, Barney has made classic WoW videos many times, a Scarab Wars Legacy video, etc. And I remember I was actually going to get one of these plushies, and then some like bad thing, I forgot what it was might happen, and I ended up not getting one. Well, it turned out that Barney didn't get any of the money that she was owed this money. Like the guy got the money, and he's just, woohoo! He's gone. Here we go.
First of all, I must
I'm out of range.
curtain back like this. This is my speaking voice, and unfortunately, this is a serious video, so I'm going to be talking through the character you are hearing. For those that watch my stream, this is not going to be a surprise that I sound like this, but I recognize lots of you probably think
That I sound like this in real life.
and that's just not the case. So now that that's cleared up,
Okay.
Richard Little, CEO of Influencer Stuff.
Influencer stuff. I would never have expected that a person with a Pogo soy face that's taking a picture next to one of the Minecraft NPCs would be a scammer. How could... Could anybody have expected this?
As Paquito, is in a lot of trouble with a lot of content creators. In the coming weeks, expect to hear much more about this fucking from other creators, but for now, I need to tell you my story. In this video, I am going to be detailing the ways in which he lied to and stole from myself and every single person who bought a plushie. Due to the
Wait, so they didn't get their plushies? I just assumed they got their plushies.
From this video, I expect this video will probably gain some kind of traction outside of my so context, last February, I did my very first merch campaign through influencers, and it was in short a f***ing disaster. Pause if you'd like to
When the item Barney Beekeeper plushie was established, an improper weight of 3 pounds and the shipment size were configured, and Shopify told to additional orders, 820 additional orders have been placed. Wow. That is sad.
But that's not what we're talking about today. Now, if you purchased a plushie and thought that it was weird that it took nearly a year to arrive, you were right.
Okay. This reminds me. So I got I ordered one of the Hassan shirts because it's like all the money was going towards like labor unions. I was like, oh, this is really cool. I'm gonna order this. And it took like a month, and then I finally got it. I was gonna message him. I was like, bro, so like, where's the shirts or anything? And then like literally 2 days later, it showed up. Yeah, it was a while. So I mean, like, I'm used to things taking a while, but like that was a while, and I was like a month or 2. This is an entire year. So wait a second. Nobody has gotten their plushie. Have any of you guys ordered this plushie? Has anybody ordered one of these and gotten them? I got mine 2 weeks out from the 1 year. Okay.
In February, after we sold out all the plushies, oh, my alarm's going off, sorry, which was just over 2,000 units, my manager took all the funds, not just the profit, but also the money that you paid for shipping, and for the whole year, he tried to hide this from me in every way he could, consistently giving me fake up.
Oh, yeah, we got him over the weekend, bro. It's about to happen. Like, it's so quick. We about to do it. It's honestly, I just got done sending them off. It's done right now. Absolutely. It's in 2 weeks, guys.
Tried to hide
in 2 weeks.
In every way he could, consistently.
Off topic. What are we on the plushie orders? Oh shit. Let me see. They were not going to send it for a bit, so I made them send it out. How many orders have we done out? How many? We should be down to...
First of all, I must apologize for pulling the curtain back like this. This is my speaking voice, and unfortunately, this is a serious video, so I'm not going to be talking through a character you are all used to hearing. For those that watch my stream, this is not going to be a surprise that I sound like this, but I recognize lots of you probably think that I sound like this in real life. And that's just not the case. So now that that's cleared up, let's get into this. Richard Little, CEO of Influencer Stuff, also known as Paquito, is in a lot of trouble with a lot of content creators. In the coming weeks, expect to hear much more about this fucking from other creators, but for now, I need to tell you my story. In this video, I am going to be detailing the ways in which he lied to and stole from myself and every single person who bought a plushie. Due to the nature of this video, I expect this video will probably gain some kind of traction outside of my core audience. So for context, last February, I did my very first merch campaign through influencers, and it was in short a f***ing disaster. Pause if you'd like to read the details. But that's not what we're talking about today. Now, if you purchased a plushie and thought that it was weird that it took nearly a year to arrive, you were right. You see, in February, after we sold out all the plushies, oh, my alarm's going off, sorry, which was just over 2,000 units, my manager took all the funds, not just the profit, but also the money that you paid for shipping, and For the whole year, he tried to hide this from me in every way he could, consistently giving me fake updates and bullshit explanations as to why people weren't getting their plushies, why it was taking so long, blah blah blah. This went on for months, but then in mid-October 2022, he told me and had me tweet a confirmation that all plushies had been finally shipped out. This was a lie. He knew it was a lie, and he had me do it anyway. In actuality, the plushies had been where they always were, which was just in the fulfillment center awaiting to be shipped. I just didn't know that yet. So a month passes, and I'm still getting daily tweets and emails like, where's my plushie? I paid for my plushie, I haven't got my plushie. And I'm upset for these people because, like, what the fuck is going on? How long does it take to send a fucking plushie? So I get hold of the fulfillment center direct, which, by the way, up until this point, Richard had been very careful to not give me the contact information for. He had done everything to hide that from me, but once I got it, and I called the fulfillment center to give them a piece of my mind, I learned the truth about the whole campaign direct from the source, which was that, not just all that stuff I showed earlier, which, by the way, I'm not getting into, but, you know, is pretty fucking bad. But the reason the plushies hadn't been shipped out is because Richard still owed the fulfillment center the shipping fees, which, if you'll remember, was collected at the point of sale. Everyone who bought a plushie had already paid for their shipping fees, so, like, what the fuck was going on? Now, a couple months prior to this, Richard had fired every single person working for him at Influencer Stuff and told me it was because they were all stealing from him. This guy, I swear. But having spoken to those ex-employees, they all said they quit citing ethical reasons and the fact that Richard owed them a lot of money. I also knew that several content creator friends of mine were owed money by Richard, and then I also remembered that years ago, before I even started working with Richard, an in-real-life friend of mine warned me not to work with him for this exact reason. He had done a branding deal with Richard, and Richard didn't pay him for like a year. In this moment, my brain had already pieced together what had happened. He had obviously taken the funds, and who knows what he's done with them. But the reason he can't pay me and the reason he can't pay anyone else is because he simply doesn't have our money anymore. So I asked the ex-employees if the ethical reason they left was because Richard was using content creator earned funds on other things. And they confirmed this. Now let's get back to the fulfillment center. For the last 10 months, Richard has been slowly drip-feeding the fulfillment center small payments so they can send out small batches of plushies here and there. This is the reason it took you so long to get your plushies, if it did take you so long to get your plushies. My manager took your money in February that you paid for. You paid for that shipping. You paid it up front. I know you did. And I don't know what he's done with it. I just don't know what he's done with it. All I do know is that he doesn't have it anymore. So he was having to somehow raise his own money to pay for the shipping. I actually have it on somewhat good authority that money that was used to pay for the shipping was probably actually taken from other content creators who have recently done deals with influencer stuff, thus creating a horrible cycle of content creators doing branding deals, their money getting paid to other people Richard owes money to first, and then Richard has to find another content creator to do another branding deal to pay that initial content creator. But it gets worse because it's at this point I contact a couple of random creators that I don't really know on the Influencer Stuff website. And whilst all of them want to remain varying degrees of anonymous, all of them were currently owed or had been owed recently money from Richard. Not one person had anything good to say about him either, and it was at this point I realized it wasn't just my money that had been Thanos snapped. It was every single dollar that had gone through Influencer Stuff all year. We are currently right now amassing a content creator victims group DM, so if you want to join that, you can tweet me. But yeah, this guy owes like a lot of money to a lot of people. But it gets worse, because you have to understand what dealing with Richard is like. You see, Richard is a severely mentally ill, pathological liar who believes his own delusions. In this situation, I have no doubt that he 100% sees himself as the victim, despite being the root of all the problems, like, demonstratively so. And if you've ever had the misfortune of having to confront a pathological liar about their lies, you'll know it's like League of Legends. It's just a complete waste of time, and you just come away from it feeling terrible. Like, why did I do that? And even if Richard did one day decide to tell me where the money went and he was truthful, I wouldn't believe him anyway, because this dude lies about literally everything. And I know I'm making jokes because that's like how I deal with stuff. I just make jokes. But this has like really actually affected me. I already had like really, really bad trust issues in real life. And Richard's constant lying has just really extrapolated this. Recently, he tried to garner pity when asked, like, where's my money from, like, 5 different people. He told them that he had recently been robbed, like, his house had been robbed, and one of them said that Richard didn't show up to a business meeting, and he said that it was because he was speaking with the jury. You know, the famously competent and fast-acting American legal system where you will be speaking to a jury in court about your house robbery the very same week that it happened. And up until now, his lies have just been, like, small or just straight up, like, gaslighting. Like, he told one content creator, oh, I've already paid you. Did it not come through? But this lie was just so far out of his intellectual abilities. Like, he was completely unqualified as a low-level pathological liar to be attempting such a high-level tale. So when he tried this shit on me, he found out that I'm the wrong one. Which is really weird, because you'd think my manager would know me. Like, my whole online World of Warcraft presence is basically, look how petty I am. I had already called his local sheriff's department, and they couldn't confirm to me if the incident even occurred. Whilst this doesn't really mean anything, Richard was also somehow unable to provide documents to prove his side, like a police report or an insurance claim or like anything really that you would just want to show someone to prove, hey, I'm not lying. So the timeline is that within 2 weeks, Richard has reported a crime. They've caught the guy because, you know, they're now in court and there's a jury. So obviously they're judging someone for sentencing. This is how court works, I think. But it gets worse. Because not only is this guy a pathological liar and a cheat, he's also just a really nasty, abusive person. When you call him out for stuff, he would turn it around on you like, how can you treat me this way? I was there for you when no one was. But I'm going to skip to what I think is probably my most outrageous example of him just completely overstepping, because it really just shows what kind of person he is. So when I signed to have influence management, I received a computer as part of my signing bonus worth approximately $6,000. This computer wasn't tied to any deal or any other thing. It was just, thanks for joining, here's the computer. And the only way that I was going to be held liable for this computer was if I wanted to leave influencer stuff through no fault of influencer stuff. So if I just wanted to leave because I wanted to leave, I had to pay for the computer. Other than that, the contract states that only influencer stuff can get me branding deals, because that's what exclusivity means. And any deal that I take, influencer stuff gets 15%. And finally, if for whatever reason Richard wants to fire me, he has to give me 30 days notice, and there is nothing in the contract that states he would get paid for the computer in this event. So on December 15th, 2022, Richard asks me to do a branding deal, and this is after I had already uncovered his lies and his deception and his bullshit. And I told him, you know what, sure, Richard, I'll do it after you pay me, because I wasn't about to do something that he would be taking a 15% cut from. Like, you got fucked up. To which he responds, oh no, don't worry about that contract. You can just do it anyway. Which is like, that is not how you do business. We have a contract. At this time, I also told him that I am not going to be re-upping my contract because... duh. And obviously, because Richard is just an insidious this didn't sit right with him. So Richard tells me that he will be charging me for the PC and taking it out of the money when he eventually pays me, despite having absolutely no legal grounds to do so. He knows that he has no legal grounds to claim the computer, but we are dealing with a fundamentally horrible individual who is just simply out to hurt people. He really drives it home. It's funny that you think I won't charge you. This guy is scum. But it gets worse. I know. How could it get worse? After the fulfillment center finally shipped out all the remaining pledges, they told me that Richard has been setting his cut of the deal at 30%, which is 2 times the amount the contract states. So when he's been talking to them about doing calculations for payment, he's been incorrectly calculating his own pay. He knows very well his pay is 15%. His percent is not 30%. I don't know where he's getting 30% from. The contract is really f***ing clear about 15%. And I haven't even brought up to him that I know that he's been trying to calculate this amount behind the scenes, because I'm just so done talking to this f***ing liar, dude. Anyway, between the 2 campaigns that Richard owes me money from, he owes me a grand total of $38,426.15. And don't you f***ing forget about the 15 cents, bitch. This is the correct calculation done with the correct percentages and deducting the things that I actually do owe him deductibles like the plane ticket he bought me last year. But honestly, I don't expect to be paid. Yeah, and I know you Americans are going to say sue him, but listen, that's not how things work in the real world. I'm in England. It would take me so much more money than he owes me just to sue him. And then if I win and I sue him for the lawyer fees, who's going to pay the rest of the victims if he's spending like $200,000 just on me? And I know 12 people he owes 5 figures to. Like, there is no winner in this situation. I don't really have any options but to make this video in the hopes that more creators come forward and this gets traction so this guy can never work in this industry again and abuse creators in the way that he has been for so many years now. And Richard, if you're watching this, get help. You are a severely ill, disgusting wretch of a person, and you will lose everything if you do not get help and reassess your behavior. I will never forgive you for what you have done to me and the way you made me a mouthpiece for your despicable lies. I do not know how you sleep at night knowing how many people you have stolen from and lied to. People whose personal lives you knew about intimately, and yet you still decided to do the things you did. There are people you have stolen from whose wedding you attended, who you knew in real life. I just can't fathom how you found yourself in this position, because you're just not fit to be here. You're not fit to work here. I don't know who let you in, but you have made it abundantly clear that someone's going to have to kick you out. And you only have yourself to blame. Also, pay me, you To everyone who bought it plushie, thank you for supporting me, and I'm just so sorry the shipping was so tough in the way that it was. I obviously do not work with Richard anymore, and I have since teamed up with a new manufacturer and fulfillment center so that I never happen again for any future merchandise I do. They are also the people that picked up the pieces after Richard's just complete mishandling of this whole thing, so I just have to really give them my props. They've been amazing, you guys don't even know. I don't know if I'll get paid for this campaign, but honestly, I'm just happy you guys got a product that I honestly put my soul into. Every single inch of this plushie was designed intentionally, and I'm really happy with how it came out, so I'm just happy that people got it. And as you can tell, I'm running out of steam here, so I'm probably just going to end this here. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. Videos are coming, you guys.
Looking for something special? Go.
Hail. Greetings, go. What brings you here? How? Be careful. What would you earn, mother?
You wish to speak?
Greetings. Farewell. I've been expecting. Peace, friend. Go. What brings you here? We shall meet again. Peace, friend. I'm out of range.
Brock, the game isn't too bad because we're at a pretty decent level. We are going to be battling a lot more trainers than we otherwise would because coming up, although not next, is Misty. And let's talk a little bit about speed calculations because that's pretty much the way this run is going to go well. In order to do that, I need to go into a tiny bit of detail about how Pokemon stats work. Essentially, there are 3 numbers that matter. The first and the most commonly known are base stats. Of course, they're not in the game themselves, but when you look up something on Cerebi or Bulbapedia, that's what you're going to be looking at. So that's a species level stat. So all Geodude have base 20 speed. Then we have EV. In modern Pokemon, they're known as IV. Basically, those are like the Pokemon's individual genetics. In this generation, they range from 0 to 15, with 15 being the best. Of course, the game never tells you what your number is. Finally, we have stat experience, which would kind of become effort values or EVs, but they work totally differently. Funny enough, speaking of base stats, every time you knock out a Pokemon, their base stats are added to your stat experience, and slowly but surely, that will cause increases in the stats. So, the more Pokemon we knock out that are fast, our speed will go up a little bit. That's the long and short of it. Now, I never know what my DVs are exactly, because they're based on a formula, and at low levels, because of rounding, it's impossible to know what it is exactly, but you can use these kind of stat calculators to find out what it approximately is. So when I was starting out, I reset until I had a Geodude with 14 attack and 8 speed, which means I have somewhere between 10 to 15 DVs. I have no idea what the number is, but it's not actually important. What is important is that the opponent's DVs are set at the beginning and they're known. Every opponent in the entire game has 8 DVs in every stat except for attack where they have none. They also have no stat experience, and because their stats are calculated the exact same way ours are, all I need to know is what my speed is in the status screen, and then I can use this very useful calculator, and I can find out exactly how fast I need to be to outspeed my opponent. So the first Pokemon I was concerned about was Misty Staryu, which at level 18 has 38 speed. So I'm going to need to be above that. If you're at 38, it's a 50-50 chance that you attack first, which is pretty bad. So you want to be at least at 39. That's going to take me a long time. I mean, I don't know exactly what my DVs are, and I'm not keeping track of my stat experience, but all I need to know is when I see 39 on a level up, I'm ready to fight Misty. But one way to make that happen quickly is to battle trainers, which will help me level up, and give me valuable stat experience. And considering I'm trying to do this as quick as possible, it's a real balancing act how many opponent Pokemon I should knock out so that I get more speed, meaning I don't have to level up as much. But of course, battling too many extra trainers wastes time and is unnecessary. Plus, just in case this wasn't confusing enough, how much damage you do is based on your level. So a higher level actually does more damage, even if you have the exact same attack. So that's something cool. Anyway, as I've been talking, you will see me actually battle trainers in Mount Moon, which I never do, and get Mega Punch, which is far more useful than Tackle or Rock Throw, since it is more accurate and actually does a little bit more damage. And with that, we're going to face rival number 2. Now, rival number 2 is pretty much the exact same as every rival number 2. You kind of want to outspeed the Pidgeotto, it's not necessary. You just want to knock it out as quick as possible, which is why I went for Rock Throw since it's a one-hit KO. Now, at my level, I won't be outspeeding anything, but Bulbasaur is going to attack randomly, and I don't get Vine Whip. Usually it will take 2 Mega Punches, but because Bulbasaur decided to use Growl, it took 3, but much rather that than Vine Whip, or even Leech Seed can be very annoying if I get too many misses. So I will take it, and for the next little while, it's kind of smooth sailing. I mean, there is a Hiker, but Mega Punch is way more useful than Rock Throw. And if you remember my Magikarp run from a couple years ago, you remember there's the last with a couple Oddishes, but Oddish is pretty slow. So we will outspeed her, and then we can go battle the Rocket. And you'd think I would teach my Geodude Dig, but I kinda wanted to hold on. I had some ideas for ultimate strategies, and since TMs are single use, I need to make sure that when I use it, I'm using it at the right moment. In the end, it didn't matter, but that's why I never use Dig. We're gonna get Body Slam very soon anyways, which does only marginally more damage than Mega Punch, but it doesn't miss and has a 30% chance of paralyzing. Now, in the SSN, I had to make a decision. Around Vermilion, there are many trainers. But how many of them am I going to need to battle? Well, at least until I have 33 speed, because the rival's Ivysaur has 32 speed, and outspeeding it would be preferable, because Vine Whip at my current level will one-hit KO. So I battle enough trainers until I'm at level 30, and I still haven't taught Dig because I am going to learn Earthquake, and I thought Body Slam might one-hit KO. Unfortunately, that was wrong. It didn't even one-hit KO the Pidgeotto, but thankfully I didn't get a Sand Attack. It did one-hit KO both the Raticate and the Kadabra, and I didn't get Confusion. That would have been pretty bad, because I did not one-hit KO the Ivysaur. Now, had I lost, I would have taught Dig right here, and it would have, but it's good to know Vine Whip did not one-hit KO me, so I was able to win on the next turn. Not optimal, but I'm going to be honest, it's way more fun to try and figure out these strategies, especially which strategies are faster, than to pre-plan everything. Also, every time I've pre-planned a run, it honestly hasn't worked out that well, so I like this method better, plus it's more fun. But you can tell I'm not at 39 speed, so I'm going to need to level up a little bit more. Now, unfortunately, I didn't actually know it was 39 speed. I should have done these calculations before, but I don't usually like to do that either. I like to be a little bit surprised, but no, in this run, I needed to know. So, in the end, I actually cost myself just a little bit of time, since trainers give more experience, and there were some trainers I didn't fight elsewhere on the SSN, and unlike the trainers I left around Vermilion and Cerulean, these ones go away. So I battled a bunch more trainers, some wild Pokemon, and I ended up getting to 38 speed. And at this point, I had a couple options. Either use a rare candy, or head back to Diglett Cave and fight a bunch of Diglett. Because the way the battle was going is the Staryu would outspeed me, hit me with Water Gun, because it's super effective, and then I'd have no chance if the Starmie did anything. Even now, I'm not going to outspeed the Starmie. To outspeed the Starmie, I'm going to have to be at like level 40. So what we're going to hope for is that Starmie at my current level will not one-hit KO if it uses an X defense, or if it uses Water Gun, but only if I have full HP. If I get hit by a Water Gun by both Staryu and Starmie, that won't work. Or at least that's what I thought. I actually didn't know 100% if I'd even survive a single Water Gun from Starmie at this point, but I never ended up figuring that out because on like my second attempt, I actually forgot to use the rare candy, which is the method I opted to go for, and I have Earthquake now. I outsped and used Earthquake, and the Starmie decided to use an extra defense. Even with that extra defense, one thing Geodude does not lack is defense, but another thing is attack. Its attack is spectacular. And this is just a great example of one-hit KOing a fully evolved Pokemon with a defense boost. Easy. So, yeah, that's a little lucky, but it was always going to be lucky. Around 1/3 of the time, by my experience, Starmie will use Bubble Beam, so it's roughly like 33% of which move she uses. So, yeah, she picked the best one, I guess, because an X-Defend can't critical hit. But since I'm relying on luck, I'm not going to say, oh, that luck was too good, and would waste just far too much time to level up to the point where I would outspeed Starmie. It just doesn't make any sense. So, I won, and I can now proceed through the rock tunnel. There's really nothing of interest in these next parts until I made a small mistake. Now, I should mention that I didn't battle any extra trainers at this point because there's just so many. Might as well battle trainers that give me more experience points and see where my speed is at, because otherwise I'm just wasting time. And accidentally, because I was looking something up, I ended up battling this gambler. And look at this. Gnosis, bubble, bubble, there we go. Of course, the run isn't over. I can just reset since I do not want to lose that much money. I'm planning to buy some Carbos to, guess what, improve my speed. But I kept this part in to show you just how careful you need to be with Geodude. Since when you get outsped and face a Pokemon that's a bad matchup, it doesn't take very much at all. And this was Poliwag using Thunder. Could you imagine a Poliwag using Water Gun or Bubble Beam? That would have been bad. So, of course, I did the same thing again and lost again, because I get bored and I start looking ahead and looking up numbers and figuring out what I want to do, and yeah, it's funny, I made the same mistake twice, and of course I lost again. But the third time I didn't lose, and I proceeded to Celadon. In Celadon, I can finally get rid of Rock Throw and get Rock Slide. I'm going to be using Earthquake and Body Slam most of the time, since Body Slam can't miss and has a short animation, and usually will one-hit KO. And when it won't, Earthquake is super powerful. Rock Slide is for flying Pokemon that can't be hit by Earthquake, pretty much. You also notice I have Harden, which I replaced Defense Curl, because, well, Metapod couldn't use Harden, so I thought it was good. I think those of you who watch my series will know exactly why I've kept this move, but blue and yellow really are in a little bit. For now, let's show off what happens if you don't have enough speed and try and battle Erica. You lose. Vitrivel even used Sleep Powder, but Razor Leaf always critical hits. It doesn't work. Pretty much every Pokemon that has a move like that, you have to outspeed. I don't like leveling up past all my problems, but to be fair, we're not significantly over-leveled. I've tried to really make it as little as possible because I do want to go fast. We gotta go fast. And of course I saved before, so it didn't waste any time. But actually, is battle a gym leader that we can defeat. Like Lieutenant Surge, I skipped him because you can't get into his gym unless you have Cut, and you can't use Cut outside of battle until you have Misty, and it doesn't make sense to go back and forth since we do pick up Fly, which we are going to need to beat Lieutenant Surge to use, but hey, that's why we go to Vermilion and beat Lieutenant Surge. Obviously it's faster if you use first, and then do Lieutenant Surge right away, but, you know, Geodude. But, yeah, Lieutenant Surge, I don't think takes much explanation. He can't do anything. You can use any move you want except for Harden, and you win. You just have to press the A button enough times, and sometimes you feel bad. You know, people think I'm joking when I say it's a difficult strategy. Sometimes you really start to think about life. What is an A button? Why am I doing 53 challenges? Oh my god, do you remember when I used to do this at single speed with Magikarp? How the heck was I that patient? And I think that gives you some major insight into why mistakes happen during boring sections. I literally do start to ponder life and whatnot, because in a lot of these there are giant sections that are kind of easy. And it's part of the reason why Magikarp is fun, because there is no section that's easy. Anyways, now it's time to battle Sylph Company. Nothing to say here. Very easy. Giovanni, of course, used Earthquake. Kangaskhan outspeeds and does survive Earthquake, so that's kind of an accomplishment, but it's a normal type Pokemon using normal type attacks. Nothing really worrisome. However, if you want to see me worry a little bit, this battle with rival number 4 was super fun. I missed with Rock Slide not once, but twice, and get hit with Sand Attack. Hooray! Yay, 10% chance of missing. Now, I don't miss the Rock Slide on the Gyarados, and I also can one-hit KO the Growlithe and the Kadabra. But of course, I miss with Earthquake not once, but twice against the Ivysaur, and thankfully, it decides to double up on Leech Seed. Great AI there, and the third time I'm able to take it out with Earthquake. Definitely not the most optimal battle, but you know what, I'll take it. People always like to point out when I get really good luck. Here's an example of where I got both really bad luck and kind of good luck. It's just the nature of the game. Anyway, there's not much to say about Pokemon Tower, and even though you think I would, I don't actually have the speed at my current level to beat Erica consistently. So instead, I'm going to go to Fuchsia and defeat Jugglers. You'll notice with the first one, the Kadabra outspeeds me. And that's going to be an issue because I have pretty low special. So, something to keep in mind for Sabrina. But right now, we're going to take on Koga. And I think you can tell this battle's going to be pretty easy considering I'm at like 1/4 of my health and poisoned from a previous battle. Everything is a one-hit KO, but the Wheezing is not, and it outsped, but thankfully, Koga used an X attack. Wheezing, the best it could do is self-destruct, and with an X attack, it may have actually been able to knock me out. I'm not sure. I have really good defense. Of course, as you saw, I got Sludge, and very easy victory. Now that we're at level 43, I'm ready to face Erica. Because I've leveled up so much and I have great attack, she's pretty simple. Earthquake one-hit KOs the Victory Bell. Rock Slide does not one-hit KO the Tangela, and Rock Slide doesn't flinch in Generation 1. I learned that. Thankfully, it doesn't have any grass moves, and it used a Super Potion. Finally, we use an Earthquake on the Vileplume, which is a one-hit KO. Not bad. Now, I get asked about yellow version. I obviously will never do these in yellow because it's too similar, but the gym leaders do have completely different teams, and some of them would be easier like Koga, and typically Erica is also much easier because she uses a Gloom and Weaving Bell with Vileplume, but she leads off with Tangela, which is at a higher level, and since it does no grass moves, it would be a little scarier for Geodude to face. And by the way, why I don't use yellow version, maybe I'll go into more detail, but essentially, other than the nostalgia factor of Red and Blue, you can't just use a Game Shark code on a legit cartridge and change your starter. People who use yellow on YouTube typically will use a ROM with the randomizer, and it's a cool little piece of software, but I really don't like using emulator, so yellow just always seemed like it wouldn't really work for me. If I wanted to do a run in yellow, I would probably just catch the Pokemon I wanted to outside of Radiant Series, but that's neither here nor there. Let's move on to Silph Company, where one of the staples of these runs is going to make a huge difference. You've seen that I have 3 great attacking moves, and a move I have yet to use a single time, Harden. Well, now it's time to use it. Yes, my friends, it is the Badge Boost Glitch. We're supposed to get a 12.5% bump in our stats once we select certain badges, but of course, because Gen 1, every time you modify your stats, that boost is re-added. So it actually compounds, and you can gain a lot of speed and a lot of attack from boosting your defense with Harden. And the only caveat to this strategy is once you level up, the glitch goes away. So if we're going to be using the badge boost glitch, you can't level up. And unfortunately, I would level up just before Venusaur, which wouldn't work. So that means I have to go fight some trainers just enough that I won't level up until after the battle. And I actually have to figure out the perfect trainers to fight, but I did. And then I fought Rival Fivel. But as you're seeing, it's not as simple as using Harden a bunch of times, because Pidgeot still knows Sand Attack. So I had to figure out the exact number of Hardens that I would need to outspeed and knock out every Pokemon in one hit, and that number was 4. And since Pidgeot essentially attacks randomly, we have a pretty good chance of not getting a Sand Attack. It did take quite a few runs, but once I started using 4 instead of 6, it was way better. 6 hits doesn't make a difference. A one-hit KO is a KO. And as you can see, not a single Pokemon, even the Alakazam, outspeeds this Geodude. And we're easily able, at least compared to what I would think, to defeat rival 5-0. And this is something, when I made my top 10 list, I had no idea just how overpowered it was. But holy moly, the fact Geodude has not one but 2 different moves, although they do the same thing, that can boost your stats, it's a game changer. But there is one other caveat, which is we need a Pokemon we can set up against, and that's not always going to be possible. A good example will be Sabrina's Kadabra. It'll outspeed and our special is low. So we're going to need to level up more. I could fight more trainers in Silph Company, but that would waste time. I'm just going to beat Giovanni. No need to even talk about him. And I'm going to go ahead to Cinnabar and fight Blaine. Now, Blaine himself isn't trivial because his Pokemon have Fire Spin and they can outspeed, but after I beat Blaine, I then went to go and battle Sabrina and see how it went, and it didn't go well at all. And this is why it's important to keep in mind where you're saving. I saved in front of Blaine and not in front of Sabrina, so if I had to reset, I would still have the ability to fight against trainers in Blaine's gym. Once you beat a gym leader, you can no longer battle the trainers in that gym. Same thing with Giovanni and Silph Company, by the way, except they just disappeared. Well, I needed to get some more stat experience and regular experience, so I beat all the very easy Fire-type trainers in Blaine's gym, and then I'm going to battle Blaine. Blaine is very easy if you use the badge boost strategy, and I used 6 Hardens because I didn't feel like calculating exactly how many I needed, and it's pretty easy to press the button 6 times. With this, doesn't matter if I get a critical hit, which is a very low probability since it's based on your speed, and Geodude has incredibly fast speed, and then you just use Earthquake 4 times, not a problem. But when I didn't use Badge Boost, I could get trapped in Fire Spin, which was not very fun, but wasn't an issue. Now it's time to battle Sabrina, but just before that, I'm going to battle the trainers in her gym as well. They'll give me some special. I also bought some calciums. Throughout this run, I've bought as many carbos and proteins as you can. There's a maximum to how many will work. And after that point, you just have to rely on stat experience. It's complicated. I don't really want to get into it. But after I did all that, I was hoping that Sabrina would be possible. I also went to the fighting dojo and then battle some other trainers to manipulate my experience because, yes, I actually am going to use the Boost glitch, but not against the Kadabra, against the Mr. Mime. Now, Kadabra is pretty scary. It outspeeds, goes for Psy Beam, not Psychic. That's pretty nice, especially because I don't get that special drop. And I use Earthquake by Kadabra. Now, against the Mr. Mime, again, I guess I didn't need this many, but I set up 6 Hardens. I want to make sure I outspeed and one-hit KO the next 2 Pokemon. Mr. Mime has 3 non-attacking moves and Confusion. You can see Confusion does barely anything once I set up all my Hardens, because Blaine is actually the gym leader that increased her special. If I didn't beat Blaine, my special would be unaffected by the backbeat glitch, which is another reason I have to defeat Blaine. Obviously, I'm talking over the battle, but yeah, it's pretty trivial at this point. You use any attacking move pretty much, and you beat Sabrina. But a major reason was that Blaine is the one that increases your special. In case you're wondering, Brock is attack, Lieutenant Surge is defense, Koga is speed, and Blaine is special. It's all the odd-numbered gym leaders. If it were to even-number gym leaders, then that would be a big problem, because that would mean Sabrina would be speed, which would not be good at all. So thank goodness for that. It works out really nicely. And the gym leader I was probably most worried about ended up being not so bad, albeit with a glitch mechanic and leveling up a bunch. But hey, for the second worst Pokemon, or so I thought, this is going super well. But now it's time to go to Viridian Gym, and I should have battled every trainer here. I thought I'd save time and only battle the 2 that I need to, but the truth of the matter is, it ended up wasting a little bit more time because I needed to do some extra battles elsewhere which take longer. And that's why I only try and do one attempt of these, because it keeps it consistent. On my second attempt I learn things, and I can get a lot more efficient. Anyway, Giovanni himself isn't really even worth talking about. I was a little worried about Dugtrio, so I set up some Hardens, but still, one of the most disappointing gym leaders unless you're using an electric Pokemon. But that's it for the quote-unquote easy part of the game. It's time to get to the challenging part, the final 6 trainers, including, of course, Rival number 6. But hilariously enough, for the first time ever, Rival 6 is actually easier than Rival 5. I know, I'm shocked too. The reason being, without Sand Attack, Pidgeot can't really do anything to Geodude. However, I make a mistake. I knew that it only took 3 Hardens until I would outspeed the Alakazam, and I also made sure that I just leveled up so I wouldn't level up in the middle of this battle. But something I didn't expect after one-hit KOing every single Pokemon is that I wouldn't be able to one-hit KO the Venusaur. Thankfully, because the Bad Boost glitch also raises my special, and Venusaur decides to Divine Lift over Razor Leaf, I actually survived, but it was close. I could have easily used 2 or 3 more Hardens. I was trying to go fast, and I was so upset with myself, I actually decided to redo the battle again. But this time, I wanted to see if Body Slam would one-hit KO the Gyarados. It also didn't, even with 6 Hardens, so that means there's no way of avoiding the 10% chance that Rock Slide will miss, and that probably will also apply to the final battle. Also, I know people will bring up that the first Alakazam wasn't actually a one-hit KO, but it used Reflect, so it wasted its attack. Anyway, I got lucky on the Gyarados, but I already had a successful battle, so I don't care. And obviously, with the extra Hardens, I one-hit KO the Venusaur as well. So even though I made some mistakes, I learned invaluable information, which should help me in the champion fight. But we have a long way to go before we start thinking about that. So we'll keep that in mind heading to the Elite Four. But the Elite Four is not going to be even close to doable. In fact, my usual strategy when the Elite Four is difficult is to just try and get through as much of them as I can and gain experience points, but that's not going to happen here. Because even though Laurelie's Dugong doesn't have Ice Beam and doesn't know a water move, it is still a struggle to get past the Dugong, let alone Cloyster with a Lamp, a water move, and Aurora Beam. So the fact of the matter is, until we outspeed this Dugong, we're not going anywhere. And Laurelie's Dugong, the first of the obstacles, has 89 speed. Jinx is much faster, and there are still not 1 but 2 Gyarados at level 58 and level 62. So, yeah, we're gonna need to level up quite a bit. I've gotten better at getting some of the out-of-the-way rare candies, but that's not going to be enough. We're going to have to go back through Victory Road, beat the trainers, and I went back to Cycling Road, beat those trainers, and for good measure, I'm going to get an extra rare candy by going to the power plant and battling a bunch of Pokemon there. But for one just extra way to get a little bit more speed, I'm going to go to Diglett Cave. Since Diglett has pretty good base speed, they're all one-hit KOs, and I'm just going to one-hit KO all the Diglett I come across. And I can only imagine, you know, the Diglett just sitting there in Diglett Cave, minding their own business, until one day this maniac with a Geodude just body slams them all. I could just picture like a, you know, documentary. The great Diglett fainting of 2020 was a tragedy. Over 25 Diglets lost their HP. And why? Do we know what caused it? Well, I asked, and the guy just says, gotta go fast. What's there to go so fast? We're in a cave. Poor little Jimmy, he's only level 15. Why did you have to knock him out? It seems that no Diglett, no matter how low a level, can spare. Thankfully, the great Diglett fainting of 2020 was as short as it was ruthless. Yeah, but anyway, after I did all that, and the rare candy, I actually did have enough speed for the rest of the Elite Four, which was kind of nice. You'll notice I saved one rare candy. That's a way I found to make sure that I don't level up in the middle of a battle. And in this case, I don't want to level up in the middle of the champion battle. That would be very, very bad. But we still have a long way to go. So cue Ice Team. Let's go face Laurel. So Laurel largely depends on not missing with Rock Slide. You will one-hit KO the Wukong and the Cloister and outspeed them both, so long as you have more than 80 speed, because keep in mind how badge boosts are actually supposed to work are to raise your stats in battle by 12.5%. 80 speed, we actually in battle have 90 speed, which is what we would need to outspeed the Cloister. We're not going to outspeed Jinx though, so we're going to use Harden twice against Slowbro. Slowbro does have Water Gun, which can do quite a bit of damage, but it's not Surf like it has in Yellow version. So long as it doesn't use Amnesia, we should be good. It didn't in this case, but it did take 2 hits because of the withdrawals. Jinx and Lapras will easily be one-hit KOs at this point, since we'll also outspeed Jinx with our Harden, boosting our speed even more. And that's Laurel. Not too big a deal, but can be trolly if you get some bad luck. Bruno, on the other hand, is a nightmare. I mean, just being Bruno. Like, how are you so bad at Pokemon battling as one of the top 4 best trainers? I mean, I really think the Elite Four is corrupt. How the heck did Bruno make it? Now, I don't like reusing strategies, but the press A 5 times strategy is all you need. Just kidding. Machamp was a 2-hit KO, so I needed to press A a 6th time. I even pressed the down cursor to go to Body Slam. I know, trying to mix it up a little bit, I don't know why, but in seriousness, Bruno in pretty much all of Gen 1, but especially Red and Blue, is just so bad. The most difficult Pokemon are Onyx, and their attacks are in Yellow, at least they know Dig and Rock Slide, so they're a concern, but here, nothing is really all that concerning. Agatha is a little concerning because she is going to outspeed us initially. We want Nightshade or Hypnosis Miss. Of course, we get Confuse Ray. Thankfully, I don't hit myself in Confusion and get rid of the Gengar. Golbat uses Supersonic. I'm already confused. Good job. But here's where I want to set up a Harden. It'll let me outspeed everything except for the final Gengar. And the reason you don't set up a bunch of Hardens to exploit the badge boost glitch further is because Haze resets your stats. And that doesn't just remove the badge boost glitch, but also removes the badge boosts you're supposed to get. Gen 1 is fun. So, luckily that didn't happen. Knocked out the Golbat, knocked out the Haunter and the Arbok, and then Gengar used Nightshade. It only can really use Confuse Ray, and with the Harden, I have good enough defense that it shouldn't be too big a deal. Agatha, once you get past the first Gengar, isn't too bad, but the whole run, I was concerned with Lance. Because Lance has Gyarados, and Gyarados knows Hydro Pump. And there is just no way, unless you're praying for a 15% miss, to beat Lance if you don't outspeed the Gyarados. And this is why I don't say between Elite Four battles, do I really want to retry these 3 where a bunch of stuff will not be right, but a bunch of stuff on the other 2 will go wrong? No. I want a strategy that when I get to Lance, I have a pretty decent shot of defeating him. And at my current level, with my current speed, Lance is actually trivial. Rock Slide, so long as it doesn't miss, is a 1-hit KO. I set up a single Harden against Dragonair, which can't do all that much. This will allow me to outspeed everything except for Aerodactyl. The only thing I'd be worried about from Aerodactyl is Supersonic. It uses Takedown, does next to nothing, and I do outspeed the Dragonite. Rock Slide is a 1-hit KO, and that's it for the Elite Four. I thought I would need to be at level 100 before this would happen, and with proper training and understanding more of the mechanics of Generation 1, we're here at level 77, soon to be level 78, because I need to make sure I don't level up. And thankfully at my current level, I will not level up in the middle of this battle. But this battle is going to be tough. I made the rival pick Venusaur because it's more likely to use Razor Leaf. It also has a Gyarados, which is a little scary, much scarier than Exeggutor. So I was pretty nervous how this battle would go. Let's see how it went. Well, I set up 6 Hardens against Pidgeot. I'm not making that mistake again. Pidgeot, as you can see, is doing nothing. Its only attack moves are Wing Attack and Sky Attack, which takes their turn. A critical hit Sky Attack would do that, but it kept using Wing Attack. It even used Mirror Move to get a Harden, and it also has Agility, which I believe it used. I wasn't even paying attention here, because it didn't matter. As soon as I got up all 6 Hardens, I went for Rock Slide, and now, with 6 Hardens, I have raised all my other stats by 4.5 times. Is that enough? Well, Alakazam, even if I got a critical hit, which is only a 4% chance with my speed, well, it's not going to be a problem. One-hit KO no matter what. Rhydon, I'm also not worried about having a super effective move in Earthquake. And now for one of the scariest Pokemon, Gyarados. After Rival 6, I don't want to chance Body Slam not being a one-hit KO. I go for Rock Slide, hoping it won't miss, and it doesn't. Thank goodness. Hydro Pump would have definitely still been a one-hit KO. Now, Arcanine isn't a problem if I get a critical hit, so it's really no concern. But Venusaur is. If I were to get a critical hit here, it may not be enough. And that's exactly what happened. Nah, just kidding. I won! No, in seriousness, this battle was actually very trivial. One of the easiest champion battles I've ever done, and it just goes to show you how the badge boost with a move like Harden, which you can use 6 times as opposed to something like Agility, which can only be used 3 times, is so overpowered. A lot more than you think, since it compounds, meaning the 12% stacks on top of one another. So with 6 stat modifiers, it's 4.5. With 3, it's only 1.6. A massive difference, and something I didn't fully understand when I made my top 10 list. So, where does Geodude rank? Honestly, I think there's a very natural spot for it, just above Squirtle. It was kind of easy to do most of the battles, but that was only with a lot of time invested and leveling up. So, this video has been pretty long, but I figured for the second most difficult Pokemon, it deserved a more thorough explanation. Funny enough, I figured Rhyhorn would be a lot easier because it's better HP and a slightly better speed, but it doesn't have either Defense Curl or Harden, so is Rhyhorn going to end up being as difficult as I thought Geodude would be? I guess we'll have to figure out later on, but for now, thanks for watching, take care everyone.
We can get them after, it's not that big a deal.
Hi everyone, I got the thumbs up while we were talking.
Love for characters is a large factor in what drives us to love fictional pieces of work. We get attached to some of our favorite characters and what they do in the universe that's being built around them. However, the longer a story goes on, there are characters that need to be introduced. And as more characters are introduced, other characters kind of unfortunately have to take a step out of the limelight. However, sometimes it feels as though characters are introduced to be immediately sidelined, which is kind of the way that fiction has to work. We can't make every character that's introduced the main character. Some characters get a couple of pages, some characters get a couple of chapters, and some characters get a couple dozen of chapters. But at the end of the day, the more characters that are added, the less screen time some characters are gonna get. The more characters that are added, the less screen time the main character is gonna get. That's just the way that an ensemble cast works. But the unfortunate reality of having an ensemble cast is that some of us as readers get attached to individual characters who then get forgotten by the story. We grow attached to characters that the author very clearly is not that attached to. And therefore, we simply just get to squeal in excitement every couple of chapters when one of our favorite background characters appears. Now, these characters, by their very nature, aren't that popular. That's why they're not the mainstay of the manga we're reading or the anime we're watching. And thus, these characters become underrated. Characters who, in our eyes, deserve more screen time and more love and more fights, but just never get it. And Naruto, a show that ran for 700 plus episodes, definitely has its fair share of underrated characters. And today, I want to share with you a list of characters from Naruto that I believe are drastically underrated. Like, downright deviously so. And explain to you why I believe these characters are underrated and why I believe they deserve more screen time and love. But before we get to ranking or explaining anything, guys, please, for me, like this video, subscribe to the page, and hit that noti bell. And if you like the idea of me ranking and explaining things, you're gonna love my other channel, The Weeb Commander, where instead of talking about Naruto and Boruto, I talk about all other anime. And posted our first ever 7 Deadly Sins video over there, so that's, like, any of you like listening to me talk about anime-based sins, then you're gonna love my podcast, Doctors Anonymous, where me and Danny Mata break down everything that happened in anime this week. It's available on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So there are a lot of characters in Naruto, and therefore the reality that some of the characters that I fell in love with were gonna get hit with a little sideline treatment was always probably gonna happen. And honestly, I'm not the only person affected by this. I know tons of people whose favorite characters barely show up in the story at all. But just because a character doesn't show up in the story that much does not mean they are underrated. Shisui is one of the most beloved characters in all of Naruto, and he's in the story for less than 1 run. Same could be said about Itachi. Even though he's in substantially more than Shisui, he is still one of the most beloved characters in all of Naruto, even though he's barely in it. So today, we're not talking about screen time or important fights or really anything like that. Today, we're going to be talking about, and specifically ranking, characters with a large disparity between the amount of love I believe they have and the amount of love I believe they should have, which means as we work our way up from 10 to 1, the characters, the disparity between the amount of love they have and they should have will get larger as we go on. Meaning our number 10 spot is underrated, but not super underrated, while our number 1 spot is massively underrated. And that's basically it. Now that you understand the rules, let's get into the list. Because coming in at number 10 in our last place spot is Sakura. And while it pains me to put Sakura in last place in anything when I'm making a list, it's actually kind of a good thing for her. See, there are tons of you that would argue that Sakura doesn't even belong on this list, and that's actually why she's in last place. Sakura recently came close to winning Naruto Top 99, placing in the top 3 out of all of the Naruto characters in the world. And while some people, children, speculated that other anime fandoms were voting up Sakura so that the Naruto fandom would have to read a manga about Sakura, that absolutely wasn't happening. Mind you, the very fact that that idea was circling around the anime community proves the point that Sakura still is somehow underrated. See, Sakura is confirmed to be South America's favorite Naruto character, and garnered enough votes worldwide that the 2 people that podiumed with her out of all Naruto characters were Itachi and Minato. And yet the most pervasive talking point that came out of Sakura placing top 3 is that somehow other anime fandoms were trying to sabotage the Naruto fandom. Liking some anime makes you a militarized member of a group trying to tear down the other group. The reason that Sakura comes in at number 10 on this list is because she is widely beloved. She gets a lot of love, but she also probably garners the most hate out of anybody in the Naruto universe. More so than bad guys who actively made it their entire lives to make Naruto miserable. Now, obviously, this hate all rides on the back of actions that Sakura did as a child, like bullying Naruto for not having parents to another orphan in Sasuke, being generally useless in the Forest of Death, having the world's worst fight with Ino in the Chunin exam, and so on and so forth. Some would argue that Sakura's shenanigans actually even continued into Shippuden, with moments like her confessing her fake feelings for Naruto, or failing to kill Sasuke at the bridge. And a lot of people still hold onto all of these talking points, talking about how Sakura's a pink trash can. But what more cultured weebs have begun to realize is that Sakura doesn't deserve half of the hate she gets. Obviously, as a child, she was annoying and useless, yes. But she was also placed on a team with Indra and Ashura's reincarnations, being led by probably the strongest Jonin in the village at that current time. She is the child of a flower shop owner who got placed on a team with 2 reincarnations of gods. Yeah, she doesn't shine nearly as brightly as Naruto or Sasuke or even Kakashi, but that's because coming out of the Shinobi Academy, all that she had was Shinobi Academy training. And you know what Sakura did do? During the time skip, she picked herself up by her bootstraps after Kakashi, mind you, completely failed her. Kakashi realized that Sakura had probably the best chakra control he's ever seen in a genin, and was like, wow, she'd be good at genjutsu, and then never taught her any, and sent her to Kurenai, didn't try himself, just was like, I'm gonna go deal with Sasuke, who he lost. So what did Sakura do? She went out and found somebody who would actually train her, and she mastered medical ninjutsu, she found a true application to her chakra control. She mastered a technique that Tsunade is the only other person we've ever seen use, the strength of 100 seal. And for a while during the war arc, before Hagoromo decided to descend down from the sky and give Naruto and Sasuke hacks for nothing, was relative to Naruto and Sasuke in terms of power in the beginning of the war arc. But even after Ninja Sky Daddy decided to descend down from whatever dimension he lives in, infinitely siphoning energy from the Pure Lands and give Naruto and Sasuke hacks for nothing, Sakura still fought side by side with them and went into a battle against Kaguya where she was the only person who wasn't in Otsutsuki or using Sage of Six Paths chakra. And she held. She sucker punched Kaguya on the back of hard work and hard work alone. But a lot of people know this, and that's why Sakura has become a more beloved character in the latter years of Naruto fandom. In fact, whether or not you enjoy Sakura as a character is how I deem whether or not you're worthy to talk to about anything Naruto. Because until you can identify her character development and what she went through and how she was able to accomplish it, I don't care about your opinions. But a lot of people know this, and therefore Sakura has been getting her flowers recently. No pun intended. Which is why she's coming in last place. But enough about Sakura. I can feel my blood pressure rising. Let's move to our number 9 spot. Ibiki. Or for those of you who don't know the names of every single character in Naruto, the Torture Guy, as that's pretty much all Ibiki is known for. See, Ibiki is something known as a Tokubetsu Jonin, or in English, a Special Jonin. Now, a Special Jonin isn't a higher rank than a Jonin. That's a misconception. A Special Jonin is somebody who may not necessarily have all the skills to be considered a Jonin across the board, however, is so singularly skilled at one thing that they set themselves apart from the rest of the Chunin, and therefore should be considered a Jonin, kind of like a warrant officer in real-life military. And what made Ibiki a Special Jonin is the fact that he has a complete understanding of the human mind, which makes him really good at interrogation and torture, which is why he's probably the head of Konoha's torture and interrogation force. Yes, Konoha has a torture division, so I've been listing the Torture Guy on the list of underrated characters. Well, one, his character design was always sick. The second we saw him in the tuning exams, I was like, oh, that guy's a badass. But two, because as more was revealed about Ibiki, we learned that, oh, he was kind of a badass. See, Ibiki's not only a Special Jonin, but he spent the majority of his life in the Anbu. And he gained such a reputation in the Anbu as an incredible interrogator that Kisame, when he was guarding people from his own cyber division from the Hidden Mist in order to get them back with village secrets, the second that he saw Ibiki, he just killed them. Because he knew if Ibiki got his hands on any of these members of the Cyber Corps, that he would get whatever information he needed. That was real life fear from Kisame, who, mind you, also possibly could have just tried to fight off the Anbu, but he had so much respect for the Anbu and Ibiki specifically that he decided it would be easier to